The bank had my girlfriend on camera stealing my life. On the screen, she slid my passport across the desk, signing my name onto a $25,000 loan I never knew existed. The fraud investigator turned to me and asked if I wanted to call this identity theft, while Emma sat there in full glam like it was a brand meeting. My heart was pounding, but my voice came out calm. I looked at the screen, then at her, and decided exactly how hard I was about to hit back. To back up, I'm 36, work as a diesel mechanic at the city bus depot, and I'm the boring guy who actually reads every line on a loan document. I grew up watching my old man juggle shutoff notices and payday loans after my mom bailed, so I swore I'd never live like that. By my mid-30s, I had no credit card debt, a beat-up pickup truck that was fully paid off, a small but real emergency fund, and a crappy two-bedroom apartment I could afford on my own. I track my money in a color-coded spreadsheet, and if you bring up interest rates, I will talk your ear off. That's who I was before Emma came into the picture. I met her at a mutual friend's rooftop birthday party. She was 25, working part-time at a boutique and doing social media for them on the side. Tight little dress, perfect curls, phone in hand like it was surgically attached. She told me she was building a career as a content creator. Said it with that mix of pride and defensiveness people use when they're waiting for you to roll your eyes. I didn't. I liked how excited she got talking about lighting and algorithms and how she could spot a fake follower count from a mile away. At the start, it was fun. She'd come over after my shifts, spread out on my couch with her laptop, editing videos while I watched a game and half listened to her rant about brands lowballing her. She posted sweet stories like, "So proud of my hardworking man," tagging me while I still had grease under my nails from a long day in the shop. She made me feel like the solid guy behind the scenes, the one who made her life possible. Early money stuff seemed normal. I make decent union pay, she made boutique money, so I picked up more tabs. No big deal. Then, "Can you grab this dinner, my invoice hasn't cleared yet," turned into, "Can you just pay? It's easier. I'll send you my half later." And later never showed up. One night I checked our food delivery app and saw I'd paid for every order for 3 straight months. I mentioned it, half joking, and she laughed, bumping my shoulder. "You make grown man money, I make cute girl money. It evens out," she said, then kissed my cheek like that settled it. My buddy Marcus, who works with me at the depot, met her at a barbecue and pulled me aside later. "She's got main character energy, man," he said. "Just make sure you're not just the grip on her movie set." I waved him off. When a woman who looks like Emma curls into your side and calls you her rock, you don't want to hear that maybe you're just part of the set dressing. As her follower count crept up, everything had to be documented. We couldn't eat without her standing on a chair to get a top-down shot. We couldn't walk past a decent wall without stopping for outfit photos. If I suggested a phone-free night, she'd say, "This is my job, babe. You have your engines. I have my content," with this little edge in her voice. My younger sister, Carla, met her at a family cookout and later said, "She talked more about her engagement rate than she asked about you. Don't mix your money, please," which I also ignored. Emma started saying she wanted to quit the boutique. "If I could just go all in for 6 months, I know I'd blow up," she said one night, lying across my bed in a matching loungewear set she tagged as gifted. All these girls doing big numbers, they just had someone believe in them and front a little capital. The way she looked at me during that last part made it clear who she thought that someone should be. I told her I wasn't taking on debt for anyone, but I'd support how I could. Rides, meals, giving her space to film. We agreed she'd keep at least a couple of shifts at the boutique. That agreement evaporated in a month. Suddenly her manager was cutting her hours, and she was at my place almost every day, using my Wi-Fi, my groceries, my electricity for her ring lights. Rent, utilities, gas for all the content days where I drove her to cute neighborhoods. All me. She'd call it our grind, but the only one actually grinding was me. The first real gut punch was the lockbox. I keep my passport, birth certificate, extra cash, and old tax documents in a little fireproof box on the top shelf of my closet. One afternoon, I came home between shifts to grab clean clothes and saw the box slightly open, not how I'd left it. Inside, my passport was out of its sleeve. I walked into the living room where she was on the floor filming a "Get Ready With Me." "Hey, did you go through my lockbox?" I asked. She didn't even pause blending her foundation. "Yeah," she said. "I was looking to see what you needed for that airline card with the miles. I thought it'd be cute if we did a trip vlog this year," she added, like that explained everything. I told her I'd handle my own credit cards and asked her not to go through my important documents again. She rolled her eyes. You are so paranoid, she said. I'm literally trying to help us travel more. My skin crawled a little, but I let it slide. A couple weeks later, I walked into my living room and saw an email pop up on my old laptop while she was using it. Thank you for your application, from a bank I didn't recognize. She clicked it away so fast I almost thought I'd imagined it. What was that? I asked. Spam, she said, not looking up. They're always trying to get you to sign up for something. Relax. Then she closed the laptop, climbed into my lap, and distracted me in a way that made the question feel dumb. At work, I mentioned it to Marcus while we were swapping out a transmission. He set his wrench down and said, Dude, it takes like 10 minutes in your social to ruin somebody. Freeze your credit if you're seeing weird emails. I laughed it off. Freezing my credit felt like putting a padlock on your fridge because you think you might get robbed. It felt extreme, and I still thought the worst thing Emma could do was order too much DoorDash. That illusion ended when the letter came. Thick envelope, official-looking logo from a bank I'd never used. Inside, welcome to your personal loan. $25,000. Fixed rate. Term, 5 years. First payment date. Already passed. My name, my address, my employer, all accurate. My stomach dropped. I called the number, convinced it was some scam mix-up. The woman on the phone went through the security questions, name, date of birth, last 4 of my social, and then said, Yes, Mr. Ortiz, I see your personal loan here. You opened it in branch on April 4th. April 4th, I was at a mandatory safety training across town with my crew from 8 to 4. I told her that. Her voice shifted into a different gear. She transferred me to their fraud department, and that's how I met Elaine, the investigator. Over the phone, Elaine asked if I'd given anyone permission to act on my behalf, if there was any power of attorney, anything like that. I said no to everything, feeling sicker with each answer. She told me they had a signed application, copy of my ID, and in-branch security footage. If you can come in, we'll review the documents and video together, she said. If you confirm you did not authorize this, we'll need you to sign an identity theft affidavit and file a police report. When I hung up, I just sat at my little kitchen table staring at the letter, my hands actually shaking. My brain instantly went to that open lockbox, the spam email, the sudden jump in Emma's content quality. I pulled my full credit report, heart pounding. There it was, a brand new personal loan, opened April 4th, balance already mostly used. My credit score had taken a hit from a late payment I didn't know about. I went into my email and searched the bank's name. A whole filtered folder popped up under Finance that I had never created. Inside were emails from that bank. Your application is being processed. Your loan has been approved. Your payment is now due. All read, none in my main inbox. Someone had gone out of their way to hide them. I started combing through the apartment like it was a crime scene. Under a stack of PR packages on my desk, I found an opened envelope from that same bank addressed to me, tossed aside. In the trash can by my desk, under used makeup wipes and cardboard packaging, there was a shredded piece of paper with the bank's logo, my last name, and part of my address. I took photos of everything with timestamps. Then I opened Instagram and looked at Emma's timeline. About 6 weeks earlier, right when the loan would have hit, her content had leveled up. Suddenly, she had a top-of-the-line camera. New MacBook. A work trip to LA, posted with captions like, finally investing in myself and you have to bet big to win big. Poolside shots, rooftop bars, studio rentals. I remember asking how she paid for it, and she'd smiled and said, brands are finally valuing my work, with this smug little look. Meanwhile, I hadn't seen any brand money hit our life, just bigger bills. I called Marcus over that night, spread everything out on the table, credit report, loan packet, printed emails, the photos of the trash. He flipped through, jaw tightening. You know this is her, he said. I stared at the pile. I don't want to believe that, I said. Belief doesn't change facts, he replied. If this was some dude off Marketplace who scammed you, you'd be down at the station already. She's not special enough for you to throw your future away. That line stung, because he was right. I called Elaine back and scheduled an in-person meeting. To get Emma there, I lied. I told her the bank had reached out because they saw I was a good customer and she was self-employed, and they wanted to talk about a small business and influencer partnership for our joint finances. Her eyes lit up like a ring light. Wait, like a brand collab but with a bank, she said. Do you know how legit that would look on my media kit? On the day of the meeting, she dressed like she was going to a sponsorship pitch. Neutral blazer, gold necklace, soft glam makeup. Walking into the branch with her on my arm, knowing she thought this was some opportunity, felt surreal. We sat down in a small glass-walled office. Elaine introduced herself in this calm, professional tone, then turned to the computer. She pulled up the security footage, hit pause, and turned the monitor toward us. There, in grainy high definition, was Emma walking into that branch with my passport in her hand, about 10 seconds away from blowing up both our lives. Elaine printed a still of the footage, Emma sliding my passport across the desk to the loan officer, and laid it next to the loan application. On top was the contract with my name, my social, my employer, even my income down to the dollar, all filled in correctly. The signature at the bottom looked enough like mine that a busy clerk wouldn't question it, but staring at it now, it felt like looking at a bad forgery of my own face. Elaine looked at me first. "Mr. Ortiz, you're confirming you did not come into this branch on April 4th to apply for a personal loan," she said. "Correct," I answered. "I was at a mandatory safety training for the city all day. I can get documentation from my supervisor, sign-in sheets, whatever you need." Then she turned to Emma. "Ms. Clark," she said, calm but with a steel edge, "this is you in the footage. You presented this passport and signed this agreement under Mr. Ortiz's name. Can you explain why?" For a split second, Emma's face drained of color. Then the actress snapped back in. She let out a little laugh that sounded almost normal. "Okay, I feel like this is being framed in a dramatic way," she said. "We're together," she added, gesturing between us. "We talked about getting funding for my business and he hates paperwork, so he told me to just handle it." "I thought it was understood this was for us," she said, turning big eyes on me like I was supposed to nod along. I kept my voice flat. "We talked about not taking on debt," I said. "I never told you to go into a bank pretending to be me. I didn't know this loan existed until you guys sent a past due notice." Emma whipped her head toward me, tears already pooling. "You literally said, 'We'll figure out money,'" she snapped. "You knew I needed capital. You just didn't want to sign anything. I was trying to help us move forward, Luis." Elaine cut in before I could answer. "Ms. Clark, signing for credit in someone else's name using their identification without explicit written authorization or legal authority is identity theft," she said. "We take this very seriously. Mr. Ortiz has the option to file an identity theft claim. If he does, this will involve law enforcement and our legal department seeking recovery from the responsible party." Emma reached for my arm, nails digging into my skin. "Please don't do this," she whispered. "You know what a record will do to me. Brands are finally starting to respond, and if they see fraud or identity theft attached to my name, that's it. We can fix this between us. I'll hustle harder and pay it off, I promise." I thought about the hours of overtime I'd pulled to build my emergency fund, about her filming sponsored posts in hotel rooms I unknowingly financed, about lying awake, staring at my ceiling, wondering if my entire future was quietly being dismantled by someone who said she loved me. I gently pulled my arm back. "You already decided how to handle this without me," I said. "You used my name, my credit, my passport, and lied every day after. This isn't a couple problem. This is you committing a crime and expecting me to eat it." Then I looked at Elaine. "I want to file the identity theft affidavit and a police report," I said. Emma broke then, full ugly crying, mascara streaking down the face she usually curated. "You're really going to ruin my life over paperwork," she said, voice cracking. "You're not even out any money. The bank will fix it. Why are you being so vindictive?" I actually laughed a little at that. "Vindictive is secretly saddling someone with 5 years of debt to chase clout and hiding the proof," I said. "This is me refusing to go down with you." Elaine slid the affidavit across the desk, and I signed every line with a weird, calm focus. She handed me a list of next steps. Place fraud alerts with the credit bureaus. Consider freezing my credit, send dispute letters, follow up with the police report number once I had it. When we walked out of the office, Emma clung to my arm again. Outside, she spun on me. "You know I did this for us," she said, wiping at her face. "You would have stayed stuck forever, patching up buses and hoarding coupons. I was trying to build something bigger." I shook my head. "You did this for your followers," I said. "You never once mentioned me when you posted that new gear or those trips. It was all my grind and my hustle. The only time I existed was when you needed a ride or a card." I drove us back to my apartment in silence. As soon as we walked in, I grabbed some boxes and started packing her stuff. Clothes, makeup, the endless PR junk stacked in my living room. The expensive camera, laptop, and lights she bought on the loan, I left on the table and took photos of, just in case. She stood in the doorway of my bedroom, eyes red. "What are you doing?" she asked. "You don't live here," I said. "You stay here because you're my girlfriend. I'm not your boyfriend anymore. You can pick these up tomorrow. After that, I'll drop them at your sister's place." She called me heartless, controlling, abusive, every buzzword she could think of. I didn't engage. I told her again, calmly, that she needed to leave. She grabbed a couple of bags of clothes and stormed out, slamming the door like we were on reality TV. The next few weeks, my life was a mess of annoying grown-up tasks. I filed the police report, sat in a little gray room explaining the situation to a bored officer while trying not to feel embarrassed. I contacted each credit bureau, placed fraud alerts, and eventually froze my credit. I sent letters disputing the loan, attached copies of the affidavit, the report number, and screenshots. I forwarded everything to Elaine, who kept me updated. Because the video and documents clearly showed she'd opened the loan, the bank shifted the liability off me. The late payment markers were removed from my credit report, and the account stopped counting against my utilization. Their legal department went after Emma for recovery. From what Elaine hinted in a follow-up call, the case ended with Emma getting hit with charges: identity theft and fraud. Not prison, but probation, fines, mandatory counseling, and, most importantly, a record. Suddenly, just some paperwork had real teeth. Emma, of course, tried to control the narrative online. She posted vague stories about being betrayed by someone who was supposed to support me and men who can't handle a woman chasing her dreams. She hinted that I made her sign something she didn't understand. I didn't respond publicly. I just watched people send me her stories with eye roll emojis. Marcus posted a simple text story. "Identity theft isn't a relationship issue, it's a crime." Carla quietly unfollowed Emma and told our extended family what really happened. One of the small local boutiques that had used Emma as a model and influencer stopped tagging her. The owner is cousins with one of the bus drivers I work with, and I heard through him, "We don't want to be associated with someone the bank is calling about fraud." That was my favorite twist, her own image-obsessed world turning its back once there was a whiff of real-world consequences. A few months later, Emma texted me from a new number. "Can we please talk?" she wrote. "I get it, you're mad. But because of the charges, I can't get approved for anything. No apartment, no car, nothing. If you went back to the bank or the cops and said you overreacted, maybe they'd ease up. We could work out a private repayment plan between us." I stared at the message, feeling a tiny, mean flicker of satisfaction. Then I typed, "I didn't overreact. I did the minimum to protect myself. I won't interfere with whatever consequences you're facing. Do not contact me again," and blocked the number. A week later, her mom called. I let it go to voicemail. Her message was a mix of tears and guilt. "She's my daughter, she made a mistake, and you've ruined her life," she said. "You're a good man. I know you are. Please find it in your heart to fix this." I deleted the voicemail. I wasn't going to chase a woman who broke into my lockbox and forged my name just because she could cry about it. My revenge wasn't fireworks. It was a slow, steady reclamation. I changed every password, closed any joint streaming accounts, unlinked every device from my Wi-Fi. I set up alerts on all my financial accounts, turned my spreadsheet into something a risk analyst would be proud of, and promised myself I'd never again ignore that first twist in my gut. I picked up extra Saturday shifts at the depot and a few side jobs fixing people's cars in my buddy's garage. The money that would have gone to covering content trips went into rebuilding my savings and padding a legal fund that, thankfully, I barely needed. I started using the free counseling through my job's employee assistance program because it turned out having someone you love steal your identity will mess with your head. I talked about boundaries, self-worth, why I brushed off every warning from the people who cared about me. Marcus dragged me back into Sunday morning pickup soccer. Carla started inviting me over for dinner once a week, where my nieces climbed all over me and complained when I had to leave. My life shrank in a good way. Less drama, more normal. On the 1-year anniversary of that bank meeting, I did something for myself. I bought a decent mid-range camera, nothing like the top-dollar monster she had, just something I could comfortably pay cash for. I started taking photos of old cars, murals I actually liked, the guys at the depot laughing during a break, sunsets over the bus yard. No ring light, no hashtags, no worrying about angles for strangers. Just me, enjoying my own eye. People sometimes ask if I'm scared to date again, especially anyone remotely online. The answer is yeah, a little. But I'm not scared of influencers or women with big dreams. I'm scared of anyone who thinks other people's lives and credit scores are acceptable collateral for their own ambition. Emma taught me that someone can say we while only ever meaning me. She torched my trust and nearly wrecked my finances, but she also forced me to rebuild both on stronger foundations. These days, I go home to a quiet apartment, bills in my own name, credit clean, no secret loans hanging over my head. It's lonelier sometimes, sure, but when I turn off the lights and there's no ring light glow in the corner, no camera pointed at my life for strangers, I feel something I didn't realize I'd lost in all that chaos. I feel like my life is mine again, and even with the scars, that's worth more than any viral post. If you're still here, you clearly love these Reddit stories. Tap like to help more people find the channel, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you're first in line for the next upload. And when you're done, keep the vibes going. There's another full story waiting for you in the playlist. Go binge the drama.